Hi, it's Dave and Telle again. This is a PowerPoint that Telle has assembled that just has some pictures of Roman era art that we want to talk about a little bit. We thought it would be nice to, now that you've seen the Getty Villa video, to be able to talk a little bit more in depth about some of the elements that you saw while we were there. So this is a mural. This is one actually from Pompeii.
Correct.
That they've excavated, right?
Right.
And so this is decorative. We would see it on the walls of our home, outside in the courtyard, or inside perhaps. And we talked a little bit about trompe l'oeil. Can you explain trompe l'oeil a little bit?
Trompe l'oeil means fool the eye, and so it's giving the idea that there's dimensionality, that there's more architecture, more space than just a blank wall. So you can see that there's these alcoves in there and architectural features.
It's made to look like a niche, like one of those recesses in the Pantheon.
Correct.
But it's actually flat.
Right.
It's just painted to fool the eye into believing that there is a niche there. But we're using perspective.
Yeah, using some perspective. You can see that this is a fairly simple fool the eye. I mean, right now, our eye is not that fooled, but it gets a little more savvy as time goes on.
So
and the trompe l'oeil gets better.
And one of the real crazes of the Renaissance is perspective painting, which means giving painting not a flat appearance, but giving it the appearance of depth.
Yes.
And so after the fall of Rome, we're not going to really see this kind of perspective and dimensionality again all the way through the medieval period until the Renaissance. Is when we're going to start seeing this kind of dimensionality. So that's one of the reasons we point out this trompe l'oeil or fool the eye effect, is because of all of this stuff turns into huge fads in art in the Renaissance.
Yes, we'll see a lot of this kind of thing in the Renaissance.
More stuff from Pompeii.
More stuff from Pompeii, another mural with some trompe l'oeil, so it looks like there's architectural features. So that's the one on the left. On the right is an example of a mosaic tile floor in Pompeii. They really liked mosaics and decorative elements, and that we're not just going to have a plain tile floor. It's going to be showy.
We're going to see a lot more mosaics when we get to the Byzantine era.
Yes.
And in fact, mosaics is one of the great arts of the Byzantine era. So there's some flow over there from classical Rome into the early Middle Ages.
Correct.
So this is the actual house in Pompeii. This is the house of the Vetti. I guess this is a different one than the one that Getty copied. But this is actual. This is excavated, right?
Yes. And so this is a Roman villa. An actual Roman villa. And again, we've got the colonnade surrounding a courtyard in this villa.
Indoor-outdoor living.
Indoor-outdoor living.
Right.
So a lot of the courtyards were interior of the villa, so that maybe the front of the house or the front of the villa would face the street. People would walk by. This is more like internal living quarters.
And the video on the Getty Museum's exhibition that the curator talked us through mentioned that the Villa of the Papyri is named for papyri because of the papyrus scrolls that were found when they excavated that. And it's mostly, they haven't been able to unravel all of them, but it's mostly the philosophy of a Roman philosopher named Epicurus. And Epicurus believed in repose. He believed that happiness was freedom of pain. And so these Roman villas, they were often country retreats. Many times they were for wealthy people. They had a house in Rome to take care of business. But these villas out at the seaside were about comfort and also being isolated from the world, that you find repose here. And that's part of the courtyard, is if you're wealthy enough, you can get away for a while from all the important business dealings and politics and everything that you're doing, and find repose. It's the peaceful center of the home.
Yes.
And the Roman houses are really designed in layers. You go from the exterior is the more public part of the house, and then you get, and it's an honor if somebody invites you. The deeper they invite you into your house, the bigger the honor, because you're getting more into their personal space and less of their public space. And these outdoor courtyards were the center.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. So this appears to be the Getty.
This is the Getty. This is the courtyard at the Getty, with the big fountain and the big water.
The columns going up and down the sides, and then the columns at the rear, all of this is also very impressive.
Yes.
It's designed to show you what a big deal the person who built this house is, and to give the impression of space and grandeur. And the bronzes and the topiaries and the fountains with the running water and the aqueducts bringing it all in.
Correct.
We won't see this kind of living again until really the Enlightenment, maybe.
Right. And when we get to Versailles, I mean, Versailles has a lot of this kind of feel.
1600s, 1700s, before we see this kind of luxury again, really. There's the fountain.
There it is.
And the little niche. The colors, you suppose there's lapis in there?
I think there is.
Lapis lazuli is a famous blue stone.
And it's also possible that some of it is dyed marble. The Romans perfected the ability to impregnate marble with dye so that the stone itself had color. It wasn't just painted on the surface. It was in the stone.
What do you figure these, is this bronze here?
Yes.
Okay.
Bronze or copper. Well, yeah, I think it would have been bronze.
Okay.
But they've got that kind of patina over time.
Here we are looking down. So this is we're very near the open courtyard. This is a covered walkway that goes all the way around the courtyard.
In fact, here on the left are the columns that go out to the courtyard. This is an actual window that has these little openings to let air flow through. The rest of it is trompe l'oeil.
Right, so this column, you can see it's got a shadow painted behind it to make it look like the column is standing out from the wall, but it's really a flat painted surface. And again, these coppered ceilings that are going to become such a big deal in the Renaissance. The Renaissance copied so much Roman stuff. Almost, if you look around any architecture, any city, even here in Wyoming, you're going to see Roman elements.
Yes.
It hasn't changed that much since Rome. We pretty much stuck with the conventions of Roman architecture.
Yep.
Some 2,000 years later. Pretty colors.
Yes, very much. So we've got Corinthian columns here.
Yeah, these elaborate columns are Corinthian columns. They have acanthus leaves on them that gives them a real lush appearance.
And again, you see the trompe l'oeil and then the colonnade there on your right that goes out to the courtyard.
This is paint.
Yep.
That's not really columns, and that's not really a tympanium. That's all paint. Trompe l'oeil, fool the eye.
So this is a picture of the Forum in Rome, the kind of like the downtown of Rome, so that we've got places to deal with business. It's kind of the business center of ancient Rome that would lead to the Senate areas, to all of your business, banking, etc.
And there was a lot of political speaking done in the forum, among other things, and that's how the word has come into English. If you have a forum for your views, that means you have a place to speak. And so the forum became that place to speak. It's the center of public life. Everybody goes down there to see what's going on, because that's where people are hanging out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
An arch.
An arch. Triumphal arch. The Romans loved their arches. They would build these huge monument arch structures to commemorate great battles,
Great victories.
emperors, great victors,
Right.
victories, great emperors, etc. So this is the Arch of Titus. We're going to see arches like this again in neoclassical Europe. In Napoleon's time, we've got a triumphal arch.
L'Arc de Triomphe
Yep.
in Paris. A triumph originally meant a parade. A great general or a great emperor, if you were a great general and you won a great battle, then you were allowed to have a triumph. And that meant, first of all, you had to leave your troops outside, but there would be a huge parade in your honor. And the day's prisoners that you had taken would be marched in chains in front of you and then executed after the triumph. And there would be strange animals that you had brought home, and everybody would celebrate you and say what a great general you are. And then to commemorate permanently your victory, you had the honor of having an arch built in your name. And this one is for Titus.
Yes.
And some great victory that he won somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And these are bas-relief columns.
Yes. So
They're not three-dimensional.
They're like inset somewhat, so they're about half round.
Would it be accurate to call those pilasters?
Yes.
Okay, so pilasters are columns that aren't fully three-dimensional.
Correct.
They're just kind of stuck onto the wall as an ornament. And if you look around, you'll see a lot of pilasters in architecture everywhere. Temples.
We've got Roman temples. So unlike the Greek temples that have the columns all the way around the outside with the building in the middle, Roman temples had a building in the back half of the structure with this kind of porch structure in the
Stoa.
front. So this is solid back here with the pilasters, and then open columns here, and then this set of steps here. This is the Stoa, and this is where philosophers would stand on the Stoa and they would talk, and this is where we get
Stoic philosophy, yeah.
Is because they stood on the Stoa.
Stoic was the other great philosophical movement of the Roman era, Epicurean and Stoic. Stoic was all about doing your duty.
A round temple, just to kind of take what the Greeks had and build on it and make it unique and new and different. That's one of the things that the Romans did, is they took from other cultures and they enhanced.
They weren't great innovators on their own in terms of art and literature and architecture.
Right.
They mostly borrowed from the Greeks and others and made it better. Their great innovations were more political and military than
Correct.
artistic and humanity.
But they invented cement.
Yep.
Which made it possible to create some of these archways and some of these bigger columns and bigger ceiling areas, etc.
Are these made of cement, these arches?
Very possibly. The dome in the next picture is cement.
That's the Pantheon. Yeah.
Yep. So the dome would have been made from cement, and probably a fair chunk of the structure was cement.
Okay. And here's another, here's another arch. This is Constantine, so this would be a later one.
It would be a later arch.
Constantine was the first Roman emperor to convert to Christianity in the late Western Roman period.
And they perfected the arch as a structural element.
Because of the strength of this arch, you could build things higher.
Yes.
And in particular, when they looked at the video of the Pantheon, they probably understood how a dome is simply an infinite number of arches arranged in a circle, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so this arch gives you that ability to hold stuff up inside the Pantheon here.
Yep, with your little niches.
And your Corinthian capitals.
Your Corinthian capitals and your pilasters, the flat columns set into the walls. So you have pilasters and freestanding columns.
The coffered dome.
The coffered dome.
At one time, the highest freestanding dome in the world has probably been surpassed now, but for many centuries, yeah.
And we may have to stop here.
And here's an
quick 'cause we're
aqueduct.
almost out of time.
We talked about plumbing. this is how water was brought into Rome in lead pipes, and these arches enabled them to get the water to flow because, of course, water only runs downhill. Another great Roman invention. And we are out of time, so I'll just say thanks. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you later.